As Marcus Wellington criticized her driving skills, Sarah thought to herself, "In exactly 12 minutes, this man is going to receive the shock of his life. But first, let me see just how far his arrogance will take him." Sarah Martinez was a 42-year-old woman who drove for Uber on Saturday nights in Los Angeles. But this wasn't her real profession. In reality, she was the founder and CEO of Martinez Enterprises, Wellington Holdings' main competitor. Her company was worth $2.3 billion, and she ranked second on Forbes's Women Entrepreneurs Changing America list. So why was a billionaire spending her Saturday nights driving for Uber? The story goes back 3 years. Sarah's company was growing rapidly at the time, but she had concerns. Walking around in her luxurious office, in expensive suits, constantly accompanied by security, she felt like she was losing her connection with real people. She wasn't understanding the real problems of her customers and employees, only focusing on numbers and charts. So she made a decision. Every Saturday night, she would hide her identity and drive for Uber, experience real life, and listen to people's problems. She used a fake name, wore simple clothes, and cruised the streets in her 2015 Honda Civic. For 2 years, she had transported hundreds of people: night shift nurses, college students, elderly couples, unemployed fathers. She had listened to all their stories and learned from the difficulties they experienced. This experience had made her both a better CEO and helped develop her company's social responsibility projects. But today's passenger was different. Marcus Wellington was the 35-year-old heir to Wellington Holdings. He had inherited the company founded by his father, but everyone knew he wasn't a real leader. The company was only standing thanks to the strong foundations his father had built. Marcus, however, thought he was the smartest businessman in the world. "Turn off that music," Marcus ordered from the back seat. "I have a headache, and the AC is too high, but don't open the window either. It'll mess up my hair." Sarah turned off the music and adjusted the air conditioning. "Of course, sir. Where are we heading?" "LAX Airport, Terminal 2. And I'm in a hurry, so don't use slow routes that get stuck in traffic." Sarah looked at him through the rearview mirror. Expensive suit, gold cufflinks, a $50,000 Patek Philippe watch, a typical rich brat. But what really caught her attention was the email he was reading on his phone. She could see the Wellington Holdings logo. "Do you work at Wellington Holdings?" Sarah asked innocently. Marcus looked up and rolled his eyes. "I don't work there. I own the company. Marcus Wellington. Have you heard my name before?"
No, sir. Sorry about that.
"Not surprising. People like you don't follow the business world. Wellington Holdings is the largest real estate and tech investment company in Los Angeles. We have an $800 million revenue." Sarah barely held back her smile. Martinez Enterprises had made $1.2 billion in revenue last year. But she watched Marcus continue bragging. "I have an important meeting in New York this weekend. We're making a big deal with a company called Martinez Enterprises. Their CEO is some woman named Sarah Martinez. She probably gets media attention just because she's a woman. But in the real business world, men are more successful." Sarah's heart raced. There were no deal negotiations between Martinez Enterprises and Wellington Holdings. Marcus was lying. Or worse, he actually thought such a deal was being made. "Interesting," Sarah said calmly. "What do you think about Sarah Martinez?" "Lucky woman. She was in the right place at the right time, but she has no real business intelligence. A man must be supporting her. Maybe her father is rich. You know, these female CEOs are usually like that." Anger coursed through Sarah's veins, but she kept her voice calm. "So how was your company founded?" "My father founded it, of course. But I developed it. I brought it up to $800 million. When I inherited it from my father, it was only $600 million. Sarah remembered the marketing reports. Wellington Holdings had shrunk by 15% in the last 3 years. Marcus's claim of development was a complete lie. You must be a very successful businessman then, Sarah said. I wish I could be like you. Marcus puffed out his chest. Not everyone can reach my level. It requires natural talent. You, for example, no matter how hard you work, you can't go beyond being an Uber driver. This is your capacity. Maybe you're right, Sarah said. But I'm curious, what kind of deal is this with Martinez Enterprises? Marcus hesitated. This is very confidential information, but it won't hurt to tell you. We're going to buy Martinez Enterprises' smart home technology division for $200 million. Sarah was shocked. Martinez Enterprises' smart home division was the company's most profitable unit, and it wasn't for sale. Marcus had either been very poorly informed or was fantasizing. Wow, that's a huge deal, Sarah said. Has Sarah Martinez agreed to this deal? We haven't met yet, but she can't refuse. She knows Wellington Holdings' power. Besides, I'm a very good negotiator. Women melt in front of me. Sarah now understood that Marcus was a complete fantasist. Wellington Holdings' financial situation was also difficult. A $200 million acquisition would bankrupt them. What if Sarah Martinez rejects you? She asked.
Marcus laughed. Impossible. I'm Marcus Wellington. Nobody can reject me, especially not a woman. At that moment, Sarah's phone rang. A message from her assistant, Amy. Marcus Wellington from Wellington Holdings is requesting an urgent meeting for tomorrow morning. What should I do? Sarah quickly wrote to Amy. Accept it. 9 a.m., conference room. Marcus had heard the phone sound. Who's texting? Your boyfriend? No, sir. It's from work. What work could there be from Uber driving? Don't worry too much. You just focus on driving. They were approaching the airport. Sarah's plan was becoming clear. Tomorrow morning, when Marcus came to her office, he would experience the shock of his life. Mr. Wellington, Sarah said, can I ask you something? What do you think is the most important trait for success? Marcus became serious. Power. Power is everything. People follow the powerful one. I'm powerful, that's why I'm successful. What about humility? Or empathy? Marcus smiled. Those are signs of weakness. In the business world, those who show mercy get crushed. You, for example, are very polite. That's why you always take the submissive role. If you were like me, you'd be running a company right now. When they arrived at the airport, Marcus gave only $15 for a $20 fare. No tip, he said. The service was below standard. Sarah took the money and smiled. Thank you, Mr. Wellington. Have a beautiful day tomorrow. Marcus slammed the door and walked toward the terminal building. That night, Sarah went to her office and researched Marcus Wellington. Wellington Holdings was indeed in trouble. They had recently lost big projects and were involved in several scandals. Marcus's leadership was being questioned. The next morning at 8:45, Sarah was in her office. With her Armani suit, professional makeup, and confident posture, she looked completely different. Her assistant Amy was making final preparations. Take Mr. Wellington to the conference room, Sarah said. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Marcus arrived right on time. With his expensive suit, confident walk, and arrogant smile, he looked familiar. Amy took him to the conference room. Ms. Martinez will be here shortly, Amy said. Please wait. Marcus was confused. Ms. Martinez? Is Sarah Martinez a man? No, sir. She's a woman. But her assistant might have said Mr. Martinez. Marcus relaxed and sat down. Around him were Martinez Enterprises' success stories, awards, and photos of Sarah. But Marcus didn't pay attention to them, playing with his phone instead. Just then the door opened and Sarah walked in. When Marcus looked up, he froze. Standing in front of him was the woman he had seen as an Uber driver last night, but now she was completely different, powerful, authoritative, and impressive. Good morning, Mr. Wellington, Sarah said in a professional voice. I'm Sarah Martinez, CEO of Martinez Enterprises. Marcus's mouth fell open. He couldn't speak. Is there a problem? Sarah asked, sitting at the table. You're looking at me as if you recognize me. Marcus tried to pull himself together. How...
Would you like me to explain? Sarah smiled. I drive for Uber on weekends. To get to know people, to understand real life. Last night I drove you. Marcus's face turned bright red. This is impossible. You're an Uber driver. I'm both an Uber driver and a CEO of a company. The limitations that confine people are the prejudices in our minds. Marcus stood up. This is a game. You can't be the real Sarah Martinez. Sarah showed the ID card on the table. Then she pointed to the diplomas and awards on the walls. If you want, you can talk to my lawyers or with my marketing director, Amy. Amy came in. Sarah, I need your signature on these documents. Thank you, Amy. By the way, I met Mr. Wellington last night. We had a very interesting conversation. Marcus collapsed. Everything was real. The woman he had seen as an Uber driver was indeed one of Los Angeles' most powerful CEOs. Mr. Wellington, Sarah said, last night you mentioned wanting to buy Martinez Enterprises' smart home division. Let's talk about this matter. Marcus spoke in a trembling voice. This was just in the idea stage. I understand. So is your financing ready for this $200 million acquisition? Marcus was silent. He couldn't answer. Don't worry, Sarah said. According to our research, Wellington Holdings' cash situation isn't suitable for such an investment. Actually, your company is in quite a difficult situation. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. Please, Do you remember what you told me last night? That female CEOs don't have real business intelligence, that a man supports them, that I was lucky? Marcus bowed his head. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Did you say it because you didn't know, or because you really think that way? There was a long silence.
Mr. Wellington, Sarah said, I have a proposal for you. Wellington Holdings is indeed in trouble, but I can help you. Marcus looked up. How? We can develop your company's marketing and technology infrastructure. We can do joint projects, but there's one condition. What is it? First, you need to change yourself. Those prejudices of yours, your arrogance, your habit of looking down on people. Marcus thought. How can I do that? Sarah smiled. For 1 month, you'll work 2 days a week with your company's cleaning, security, and food service personnel. You'll do their jobs, listen to their problems, understand their lives. Isn't this humiliating? Mr. Wellington, last night you found my job humiliating. But by doing this job, I understood people better. You can do the same thing. Marcus nodded. I accept. Perfect. We'll also review your company's human resources policies, employee satisfaction, equal opportunities, fair compensation. I accept everything. The meeting lasted 2 hours. In the end, Marcus came out as a completely different man. His arrogance was broken, but at the same time, he was hopeful. As he stood at the door, he turned to Sarah. Ms. Martinez, Sarah, thank you, and I apologize for the patience you showed me last night. Sarah extended her hand. Everyone can make mistakes, Marcus. What's important is learning and changing. Marcus shook her hand. Can I ask one more thing? Why do you really drive for Uber? Sarah looked out the window at Los Angeles traffic. Because real life doesn't happen in offices, Marcus. Real life is on the streets, among people, in their stories. I'm a human being before I'm a CEO. And you can't be a good leader without understanding people. Marcus nodded. I understand. I have a lot to learn too. We all do. After Marcus left, Sarah talked with her assistant Amy. Are you really going to help him? Amy asked. Yes, but first he needs to change. People can change, Amy. Sometimes they just need the right lesson.
6 months later, Marcus Wellington was a different person. He was having breakfast with his company's cleaning staff, listening to security guards' family problems, working together with the food service team. Wellington Holdings' employee satisfaction increased by 400%. The partnership agreement with Martinez Enterprises was also successful. The two companies together developed social responsibility projects, providing technology support to low-income families. Marcus now voluntarily spent time at nursing homes on weekends. He had abandoned his arrogance and learned to empathize. Sarah continued her Uber driving. Every Saturday night she met different people, listened to their stories, and continued learning. One evening, she saw Marcus as her passenger. But this time Marcus recognized her and smiled. "Hello, Sarah," he said respectfully. "How are you tonight?" "I'm good, Marcus. How are you?" "Much better. The lesson you gave me that day changed my life." Sarah looked at him through the rearview mirror. "Which lesson?" "That real strength isn't about looking down on others, but lifting them up." Sarah smiled. "You learned that yourself, Marcus. I just provided the opportunity." Throughout the ride, Marcus talked about charity projects. Wellington Holdings was now not just profit-focused, but a company that contributed to society. When she dropped him off at his house, Marcus tried to give a tip. "I won't take it," Sarah said. "This is a friendly service." "Friend?" Marcus was surprised. "Of course. You've changed, Marcus. You're no longer just a rich brat. You're a real leader." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Sarah. You gave me the biggest lesson of my life." That night, as Sarah drove home, she thought, people really could change. Sometimes someone just needed to show them the truth. Marcus's story had taught Sarah something else too. The most powerful weapon wasn't revenge, but compassion and understanding. Because revenge only hurts once, but compassion heals for a lifetime.